Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. A viewer recently reminded me that I hadn't yet done an update on Medium and how things went with Medium. As I told you guys during lockdown and everything, that I was starting to write for Medium. And if you don't know what Medium is, it's simply a website, kind of mass blog, where people go and write a lot of different genres on there, such as tech, such as poetry, fiction, science, mindfulness, relationships. There are so many different topics that are on Medium that people are writing about, and pretty much anything else as well. But those are the ones that are quite popular and people write most often on Medium that I've found. So it's basically just a platform of articles and information written by people for people. So, or written by writers for people, I guess would be the correct term. I decided to give it a try, and I heard about it through the grapevine, and I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. I should try this out. A big reason I wanted to try it out was, well, the two big reasons I wanted to try it out was because number one, I wanted to get some of my poetry out in a different way other than Instagram where I used to post it. I wanted to kind of just see what people felt about it, I guess. And the second reason was because I wanted to obviously report back to you guys and let you know what my thoughts were on it and how viable it is, I guess, as a writing opportunity. And I guess I should be putting this on my writing channel, because I do have a writing channel, if you don't know. I will talk about this on my writing channel. I do have like a video on poetry going up there, and that kind of touches on Medium a little bit. But I really wanted to bring it here because I wanted to look at the money side of Medium in particular, because I know that people are always interested in side hustles, and I've heard people say Medium's a good side hustle and you should try writing for Medium, and I was just like, is it really though? You know when people tell you something and you go on there and you're like, it's actually not, and then you're like, yeah, well, the real trick is. So I wanted to see if that was the case. Let's get into it. I wrote down some notes on how I found my time, and then I'll show you screenshots of how my posts did. I started Medium on the 5th of May 2020, and I was writing mostly about poetry, as I said. So I was doing poetry mixed in with some other kind of like relationship stuff and life kind of lessons, I guess, as well, because that's just what I was passionate about writing about at the time, and so that's what I wrote about. So I posted mostly poetry. One of the biggest ways to be discovered on Medium is through curation, and curation is simply, there are specific topics on Medium that you can be curated in, and a moderator will go through content that fits under those topic categories, and if they think you are a good fit for curation, which means that you'll essentially just be shown to people on Medium, you'll be suggested. It's kind of like a suggested video on YouTube, but you'll be suggested to multiple people, people who don't follow you, and you'll be suggested basically forever. But if you just post, people will have to search to find your work if you don't get curated. So if a moderator or a curator decides that they like your content and they think you're a good fit for Medium, and you tick all the boxes on the Medium curation guidelines, then they will curate your work. So you'll be curated in a topic. So I've been curated in poetry a couple of times. So yeah, so that's one of the biggest ways you can be discovered. The other way is publications. So publications are within Medium. So you have publications and they curate, I'm gonna say, because they don't curate content. It's not like being curated, but they have writers write for them, and then they publish your work underneath their publication. And so it would just basically say, like, say I wrote a poem called Disease in, and then it'll say wildflowers. I don't know, that's the first thing that came to mind. Yeah, so it will say the title name in, and then the publication name. So that's how you know that it's been published in a publication. And publications can be great because publications have their own following, and when you publish under a publication, you will be shown to the followers of the publication, more than likely. A lot of people use that when they're starting, especially to get traction and to get more people to have eyes on their work, and to get criticism as well, because your work does go through an editing stage when it's sent off for submission to the publication, and an editor will go through your work and fix any typos, or let you know if there's something that needs to be changed, if they don't like the flow, if it doesn't fit with their publication, because it's very publication dependent. So each publication has their own sort of style, has their own sort of message, and they tell you usually in their guidelines what they're looking for, so you kind of need to follow those guidelines if you want them to publish your work. Usually you have to apply to be a writer, but for the most part, if they accept you, they will most likely publish your work because they've seen your other work and they like it and they think it fits the style, and if they don't, they won't accept you. That's that. Wow, I think I really got that down really fast. So let's move over to my computer and I'll take you through some screenshots of what my first month on Medium was like, so you can see specifically from my own published work what I received, not only in like views but also in money. Also, I did a screen capture exactly a month after I joined Medium, so you can see exactly how many views I had, because there's no way to go back and edit a specific date to see views, which is something I'll talk about a little bit later on. That's just why the screen capture was taken quite a while ago, so you might notice that it will look a bit different from the second screen capture where I go through all the earnings, which can be seen by month. I just wanted you to see and know, so that's just a little precursor. So I really wanted to go through my first month's views on Medium, and so I took this screenshot exactly 1 month from the day of when I started. So this was taken on June the 5th. And as you can see, everything is broken up by views and reads and fans. Views are how many times your articles or stories have been viewed. Reads are how many times your stories have been read through completely, and fans are how many people total have clapped for your content, not how many claps you have, because you can get multiple claps on one story. So on a story you can give up to 50 claps, depending on how you feel the story was. If it resonated with you, you give more claps. If it was outstanding, you give 50 claps. If you didn't like it, maybe you give 25. Like 25 is kind of my base rate of what I give people, and then I work up from that on how much I liked the story and how informative it was, or how creative or how cool it was, etc. So my views, as you can see, range from around 6 views to 120. The way I got most of my views was actually through posting through publications, so it would be their viewers that would see my work, or from posting on social media. So some of these views aren't by members of Medium, so that's something to think about. So now let's get into the earnings part of this video. If you go on your own partner program earnings page, you'll find all the information, and the way you access it is by clicking through here, clicking on Medium Partner Program once you've joined, obviously, and it will show you all your earnings. So this is my page for my earnings from May 1st to May 31st. As I said before, I joined on May 5th. So this is like a partial amount of earnings, I guess, as well. But as you can see, like my most paid post or story was Free Your Spirit, which is a poem I wrote, and this was actually curated. So if I click into it, you can see up here it says Medium Poetry, so that means it's being curated in poetry, and that explains why it made as much as it made more than the rest, because it was one of the curated ones. If I go back, you can see here a post I made here. It's an article about basically it was my first year wedding anniversary, and I kind of like talked a lot about what I learned in that whole year, and that was the second grossing, and it's quite a long post, so it wasn't curated at all, but because it was a longer post, it obviously earned more than my poems. So you can see here, like it's quite a long post, and you can actually see oh, you can't see it here, but usually it tells you how long it is. And then my third highest one was Yellow Dust, which was also curated in poetry, and I'll show you that. So this was my second poem that I wrote, that I told you about, that I posted, and it was curated in poetry and well received, as you can see. But it's a short poem, but did well because it was curated. I say well because when you look at this, it doesn't look like well really at all, but hey, it's better than nothing. So I'm going to show you. I'll scroll the way down. You could just read, you can see yourself how much I made for the month, and the total was 78 cents. So this is in US dollars. which right now would be terrible if it was being sent to me. It'd be like nothing because the dollar is struggling. But yeah, I made 78 cents in my first month on Medium. And you can see here actually how much I made for every other month since. So I thought I'd just show you that now because we're in August. Once again, you can look here and you can kind of see it's the same stuff that's still earning. I wasn't posting as often then. I stopped posting daily and at all really on the 6th of June. So right now I'm showing you my June earnings and you can see how much I still made. And I only posted one poem in July. And if you look at the difference between May, June, July, May is not that far off from June where I didn't really post at all. And July is not at all far off from June where I basically didn't post at all. I think I posted 3 poems in the beginning of June and then 1 poem at the beginning of July. And I haven't posted anything since then. So it's still, even though if you stop posting, if you've got like a back catalogue of articles and stories, you can still make money even though you're not posting. It's obviously not encouraged because, you know, you have to keep putting new content out there. But if you get curated, you'd probably still be generating quite a lot, quite a similar amount to when you were posting often. So that's one thing I noticed. I posted pretty much, I'd say almost daily, maybe every other day for a month, and I made 80 cents. And that was in the beginning, right, when I didn't have a base. And then I posted a little sporadically the next month, and I made 42. And then I didn't post really at all, and I still made 30 cents. So that's something to kind of think about. And I think especially because I do poetry, that might have something to do with that, because my poems are quite short, and yeah, that obviously makes a big impact on your earnings, the type of content you make. And I hear that also different topics pay a different amount. So this is something I'm really interested in seeing how it progresses later on, and I'm going to be getting back to posting again quite regularly on Medium now that I'm kind of getting better at my scheduling with all my creative projects that I've been taking on lately. So fingers crossed that I'm going to get that down. And so my final thoughts on Medium. It's a great place to be creative, to write and have your say, and to just be a writer and to be surrounded by other writers. It can be great for like a long-term writer looking to build a base for their work, like to kind of have a portfolio. Maybe not for like money, but it could be a great base to have your writing published, especially if you get published in one of the bigger publications. You can kind of use it as like bragging rights and bring that to other publishers later on if you're wanting to publish your work through brick and mortar publication or publisher in the future. It could help you if you have a following on Medium as well as quite a history of writing and doing well writing. It's definitely not a get rich quick scheme. Monetization is based off of read time. So if you're looking to go on Medium to make lots of money, I tell you now, you won't. You'll just get bored. You can't do it for the money. You have to do it because you're passionate about writing, because you're passionate about what you're writing about. You can't just be like, I want to make money, I'm gonna get rich, I'm gonna go and write on Medium. Doesn't work that way, especially because people don't really know how the monetization works fully. So there's no way for you to like just be like, I'm just gonna do this and then I'll make lots of money. Nothing really works that way. So just a thought. And it's not exactly the best place for poets, I don't think. It's great because there are so many poets on there and there's quite a community. However, aside from the monetization like issues, you know, with the read time and all of that, and not really making any money from it, there could be like future publishing implications, which I've thought about a lot, which is kind of why sometimes I publish through a publication and sometimes I just publish it myself. So if you go through my poetry, you'll see that some is published through a publication, some of it isn't. So usually the stuff I don't publish through a publication is either super personal and I don't think it'll work in any publication, or it's something that I want to publish later and I'm not too sure about how that will affect me publishing through a publishing company, or if I want to self-publish. Because a lot of the time when you're publishing your poetry, they want to know that it hasn't been published anywhere online before. So that's kind of something that you might come into later on, and I've kind of just like let go when I wanted to do Medium. I was like, do you know what, it is what it is. I'm publishing stuff because I want people to give me feedback on it. So I kind of hold back on my like really good stuff because or the stuff that is like, I know I'm going to put in a book, just because I'm like, I don't really want to put that out there, but I have a lot of poetry that is quite similar that I think is just as good that I will publish, but is not exactly going to go into the book because it doesn't fit the theme of my book. So that's just one thing I find with poetry specifically on Medium. So it might not be the best place for a poet or someone who is publishing through a traditional publishing route. But self-publishing is probably fine because you're not answering to a publishing company later on about if you've published this before. So you can put in your book. Some of these poems have previously been published on Medium if you want to. I don't know if that's a legal requirement, but it might be. Anywho, sorry about that little mini rant. That's just for the writers out there if anyone's interested in about that. I just thought it was important to address that because it's something I've thought about a lot. So where am I at now with publishing on Medium? So I haven't been writing as much for Medium since. I haven't written since July. A lot happened. Now that I'm kind of settled in my new place, I'm hoping to write more on Medium. I'd really like to get back into it. I'd really like to get back into the schedule of writing. I know I made that video and I was saying I was doing too much, and I really was doing too much because I found that when I wrote on Medium, it was taking away my creative energy to create videos. And first and foremost, I wanted to create videos. So my writing has taken a back seat. Along with all the other writing that I'm doing. I still write, I just don't publish anything I write anymore as much. So it's all just written in my notebooks because that's just how I write. But yeah, so I'm hoping to publish more in the future, to join some new publications, and to give you guys an update on how it goes, maybe a year or a few months down the line. I wanted to initially do this one every month, but I just felt like there wasn't going to be much to talk about just because I didn't make a lot. I made what? So I made about a couple of dollars on Medium. For the amount of poetry I've posted, it's not really a lot. So yeah, I don't think there'll be a lot to update. Views wise, there might be. I have had those sudden surges, the surges of views that randomly came 100, one after the other, randomly one day. I don't know where it came from. I had other people who posted saying that happened to them. So no idea. Once again, analytics ain't great. So you don't know where it came from, and you can't really tap into that audience to try and figure out where, who it was that was so into reading your poems. Maybe publications might be sharing the content and that's where the traffic is coming from, but there's no way to know. Anyways, that is the end of my video on Medium. Have you tried Medium before? Are you planning on writing on Medium? Be interested to know how it's gone for you and what your thoughts are. So I hope this helps you if you're thinking about writing on Medium, and if you do, make sure that you're passionate about it and that you can sustain writing. Consistency is key, as on every platform. YouTube, consistency is key. Medium, consistency is key. Everywhere else, consistency is key. It's the only way to grow. It's the only way to do well and to really kind of reap the benefits of your work. So definitely you have to put in the work to get any reward, as always. But I will see you guys next week with another video. I hope this was helpful and I hope you guys are doing well. See you guys later.